What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Film Session. So, in Indiana's loss to Michigan State on Tuesday night, the Hoosiers surrendered 6 turnovers, which led to 12 points for the Spartans during their 19-0 run in the second half. And it's a period that pretty much sunk Indiana's chances at winning this game for good, and it led to a blowout. So, let's dive in and see what the heck happened here. Okay, first one here. Indiana down 2 with 10:44 to go. Here is the start of the turnover barrage. We'll see. We got Wilkerson trying to set a screen here for DeVries, and he's cutting around this, and he's heading towards the basket. And we got Reed Bailey operating with the ball out front. This runs. Bailey makes his pass, and there's really no daylight for this. We get the idea here. You know, it's Indiana cutting off the perimeter. Is DeVries going to shoot a three? Is he going to pop out? No, he's cutting to the basket here. But it's really not there. Maybe he's got a sliver of space, but we got length and athleticism guarding DeVries here. And Ward's able to grab it, or knock it away, and then they're off to the races. And Fears did this all game, got ahead of the pack, back to Ward, gets fouled, and he made the and one here for their first 3 points. Okay, next one. We got Indiana not being able to really get the ball off the perimeter here. And this was kind of a problem during the stretch and at times in this game, just not being able to penetrate for a while. And then we got Wilkerson is able to go left here. And he gets by, but Ward comes off of Sam Alexis. And this is where it craters a bit. So there's 2 on the ball here now. And Wilkerson is getting pushed pretty hard towards the baseline. But he does have Alexis cutting here. And so as this develops, what happens is Ward gets just like enough of a body, kind of a body push on Wilkerson. And he's heading out of bounds. And his momentum's carrying him the wrong way for this pass. And so it ends up a little soft. 2 Spartans go for it, and here's the turnover. And then here we go again, way up the court. Cohen Carr gets the ball ahead of the pack. Filthy dunk. Next one. Got Conaway taking this initial ball screen here from Alexis. So isn't able to really penetrate or get through this. This comes back around. Dorn over to Enright. And now we got a side ball screen here. This is something Indiana ran a decent amount in this game and has been doing as the Big Ten season's progressing here. We got kind of 3 over on this side. And now we got Alexis who's going to pop up and set this ball screen for Enright here. Okay. And what Indiana was doing was, so yeah, here he pops out of it here. And he starts heading towards the rim. I guess this is kind of more of a ghost. He didn't really get a full body on Enright's man. And Indiana used this to pretty good effect, these slips earlier in the game, but Michigan State kind of figured it out as it went along because Michigan State likes to hard hedge here, the big. So this runs. The help defense does come across now in a way that it wasn't earlier in the game. And we see 2 other Spartans now heading towards Alexis. And then as this evolves, and he's basically triple teamed at this point, he doesn't get DeVries in the corner. So defense that rotates down here. And then all of a sudden, you know, we got Conaway kind of just facing the other way. Dorn at least is trying to get in the mix here. And even Enright is very far away from the 3-point line. And so even though he's triple teamed, there isn't a good release valve for him right away. And so as this evolves, the ball gets slapped away, and Michigan State hustles for it, able to save it, and they're heading the other way once again. Fears all the way down the lane, scores once again. And I mean, he was just dynamite all game. Indiana could not get in front of him once he got ahead of steam going in transition for most of this contest. Led all scores. All right, next one, we're going to see the same configuration again. This time, it's Reed Bailey and Conaway hooking up on this right side ball screen with 1, 2, 3 over here. And Michigan State almost snuffs this out even stronger this time. Fears jumps up and impedes the ball from even getting to Bailey. and then it goes out of bounds. So we see on the reset there are 12 seconds left on the shot clock. And Indiana's inbounding it back in, and then Bailey almost loses the ball, gets it popped out a bit. And now all of a sudden there's 6 seconds left, and DeVries is shoveling it over to Conaway, and he doesn't know. And you can see, like, Darren DeVries is kind of moving his hand, like, let's get going here. And there's 1 second left, and the shot clock expires, and Conaway just really had no idea here. So this is a little bit different than a bad pass, which we've seen on a couple of these other ones, or just getting the ball stripped. This was just sort of a mental kind of time and situation space that Conaway just kind of blanked on. And you'll see DeVries here too. Here he's like, point, use your head, is what he's saying. And Conaway's looking over at him here. And I think he also kind of, use your head, throws his hand up. Like, what are we doing here? And Conaway kind of shrugs his shoulder. Maybe says, my bad here. My bad. Maybe he said that. I couldn't quite tell there. Not an expert lip reader. All right, next one here. This actually starts with an Indiana turnover. Wilkerson strips Cooper. But this is that there's a little bit of a tie-up between Cooper and Bailey here. And Bailey shoves him. Reading the box score as an offensive foul turnover here. The shove. So this is a little bit different. Again, this type of turnover there is where things, you could see the downhill nature of these. They started off with some bad passes getting stripped. Then all of a sudden we're having the mental error on one end from Conaway. And now we're having just kind of you could call it a mental error. You could kind of getting hot under the collar here. And Bailey just shoves him. And they call this, and then we'll run it ahead here. We'll kind of see a closer replay of what went on here. Come on. Here we go. So here it is, tied up. And, it gets sensed, like, Bailey's getting tied up, pushes him here, but with the way things were going, this just added insult to injury, and another 2 points for Michigan State off an Indiana faux pas. And then our sixth and final turnover, here it comes. We got an initial ball screen here for Tucker DeVries and Conaway coming this way. And Conaway gets through, and there's a switch, and he keeps coming. And pretty two on the ball for a little bit, but now he's got the, the longer ward on him. And what we now see is, Sisley kind of wisely cutting into some space here. The ball bounces, and it looks like it kind of hits him right in the pocket here. But he just, as he goes up and Fears is there to contest, I don't know if he just kind of took his eye off the ball with the defender ahead of him. And that was another turnover. And, at least Indiana did get some penetration on this one, but ultimately Michigan State covered it up at the rim. And as Conaway looked elsewhere, he had a teammate that just sort of fumbled the bag a bit here. So a whole wide mix of different kind of ways that Indiana turned the ball over during this 19-0 stretch, and it really just kind of spiraled on them, and that's why they lost by 21 points this game. Big reason why this stretch just kind of defined it for the game. So, alrighty, that is all for this one. We will catch you in the next one.